Well, hey there. Welcome back to Let's Animate After Hours, where things get a little more intimate with the talk show that's sweeping the globe. As we parody Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. As you can tell, we've jumped ahead here with a new scene already well on its way to being populated. And we're here outside Disney headquarters in the beautiful, luxurious Burbank, California, circa 2014. But seriously, I can't keep that broken, staggered voice up for much longer. We are after hours, though. It is dark. It's very intimate here. Everyone's asleep. I'm down in my bunker by myself. You can't see it, but it's dark. The fire is casting a wonderful orange glow against my skin. It is warm. It is cozy. The perfect atmosphere for a little relaxing animating. And of course, by animating, I mean crudely drawing shapes to make them pass for real world things that tell a crappy joke. Something like that. Anyway, I'm doing an after hours recording again because I'm behind in my video content and I need something for tomorrow. So we're going to jump right in. As you can see, I've already got a lot of the trees done. I've been working on getting some of my shading and whatnot a little more on point, so to speak. And so I've been working on that. And even when you take away the background source material, things are still looking pretty good here. And I'm pretty pleased with how this scene is coming out, especially considering it's going to be visible for like a total of, what, maybe 3 to 6 seconds? But it needs to exist. It needs to set the scene. It needs to let the viewer know what it is we're talking about when we cut to the boardroom with J.J. Abrams. So we're working on, if I remember correctly, we have a building layer here, which is the sum total of everything covering this source material. Yes, there we go. Wonderful, wonderful. So what we'll probably do in this episode is just work on stretching out these shapes until we're satisfied with the results. And what we might actually do to simplify our life is to turn these two dome-esque pieces into one total dome that covers this whole area. So in the nature and the spirit of an after hours intimate episode, how you doing personally, on a personal level? What's up? What's going on? I, for one, don't have much going on. It's been a little bit busy lately, but managed to settle back into a bit of a regular pace today, minus my lack of recording. But we're fixing that right now. We're getting on track, on point. Everything is going smooth. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you in the dark. I don't know how I feel like these after hours episodes are terrible. Granted, I mean that's a given, right? I'm muffling my voice. It's going to be impossible to hear. But I also feel like it gives me a chance to flex some different muscles, some more character-driven muscles, if you will, that let me, try on different attitudes and different personas to help flesh out my repertoire and build a library of comedy. Comedy, if you will. Yeah, comedy. That's a good one. A comedy of voices and attitudes and opinions that reflect a multitude of characters that don't exist in the real world, but are reasonable copies of over the top. Okay, what is this texture here? This is like an actual piece of art on the wall that I'm just gonna like literally cover up with my crude. Yeah, well, I guess Disney should have thought about that before they had me parody them, right? It's only fair. I don't know how deep down the rabbit hole I'm gonna go in terms of texturing this building and stuff. Probably not at all deep, if I had to guess. Really, the only critical things are, in fact, the windows, right? I imagine it's the windows that will determine whether or not we're able to tell this is even an office building, so to speak. I've been having a lot of trouble with my mouse lately. It doesn't seem to want to... I don't know if it's too much clicking or what, but the grab feature... Wow, that's scary. The grab feature just doesn't want to work. It's very odd. Very, very peculiar. Perplexingly peculiar. Perpetually perplexing peculiarities. I know you're probably sick of my ridiculous... oh, my ridiculous, what do you call them? Alliterations? But I like them. So in this After Hours episode, you're going to get more of that. And that's just the way life is. Let's spread these windows out here. It'd be nice in one of these let's animate videos, we actually do some animation, right? Like, that's what everybody's here for. That's what we're all flocking to our YouTube feed for, is to get these killer animations that I'm throwing down here, instead of these terrible sort of semi-suggestive After Hours lewdness, right? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to hear a Canadian guy be suggestive like that. There's nothing more unsuggestive about that, or than that, right? That's got to be the most suggestive sound known to man or a woman. Cannot forget the other gender in that. Now, how are these windows gonna even look, I wonder? I mean, I think they help bring... I'm rendering again. You might not be able to see it. Well, you definitely won't be able to see it, but I'm telling you it exists. So listen to me. No, but seriously, folks, yeah, it looks alright. I mean, you can see that it's a building. It looks a little bit like Neapolitan ice cream if it was blueberry instead of chocolate. But I think it gets the job done. And those trees also look much better in the rendering than they do here. Yeah, we need to do this little shack here. This will have to be in the final cut. All this gate. Yep. This background's not going to exist. This little shack here, this umbrella, that's just too much detail. I'll throw in some mountains here to help flesh that out. And I don't know what's going to go back there. And I thought of having like a Pluto or Goofy or somebody, like Goofy walking Pluto across here, and he just stops and takes a leak on the side of this pillar. I don't know. It might be a little too ambitious again, but we'll see how it goes. This particular scene has come a long way rather quickly, and if it continues to move at such a strong pace, I might be persuaded to carry on. There's another character I like, the guy who pretends as if he's re-enunciating a word to get it correct when really he's been saying it correct the whole time. I think that character can really catch on. I often wonder if I should start doing, like, in the old days, you know, you hear stories about, like, in Canada, Kids in the Hall is like a relatively famous comedy troupe from like the 80s and 90s, maybe. And you hear stories about how, oh yeah, they got their name from Rodney Dangerfield because he used to always say, oh, the kids in the hall. Got that joke from the kids in the hall, and referencing, young comics who would stand outside his dressing room before a show and try to pitch him ideas for jokes. A very noble, not noble, but a quaint, really quaint sort of idea, right? About a young go-getter comic eagerly pacing outside of an established veteran's dressing room, risking it all is on the line, putting it all on the line for the chance to land that one joke with the legendary Rodney Dangerfield, and hoping to kickstart his career. I've often thought about doing like a modern equivalent. Like if I just started emailing terrible character ideas to an existing YouTube content creator who shall remain nameless, but rhymes with Northern Iron, and seeing what the reaction would be. And does this cut through partway through the windows? Yeah, my mouse is really giving me trouble. It does too. I don't know if I like the look of my version of that. Here's the reference material version with the red cutting into the white halfway through these windows. And then here's my version. Very strange looking. These are all going to be trees in here, some shrubs along here to kind of cover this janky animation or janky imagery here. And then I'm going to look at the rendering again. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff right there. Should we do something at all with this top piece along here? It's slatted and marked. If we throw in, there's going to be a lot of points to throw in across here. Wonder if we can just shade it somehow? If we go to the top floor layer and we'll pick this and we'll throw in a shaded feature. If we can get something done. I've kind of moved away from using this thing. You can't see it right now, but it's a strange ball that you drag the thing to represent where the shadow is, and then it's supposed to like put that shadow feature in there. But I don't know. I don't really care for it. It doesn't do that great a job, I find. And so what I ended up doing, like I was farting around with that for these trees here, and I didn't really care for it. So I ended up just like this is another layer over top of this tree, and it's got like an opaqueness to it, opacity, very low opacity. So it's not like when I render it, it doesn't show up as this dark black blob that you see here. When I render it, it's kind of like a see-through green onto green, so it just kind of adds a little bit of definition there. It looks better than it looks here. Same with this shadow here. It's not just a pure black streak of shadow. It's got some color coming through to represent the material that's in the back. But I can probably throw kind of a darker blue on that. Something like that, maybe, would be good. And we'll pick that, and then we'll grab that. And that'll be good enough. Once I render this, how does this look? Yeah, we're going to tweak the shapes. Make it a little bit more bulbous, if you will. Bulba Fett. There's another whole idea right there. There's a dime a dozen I got ideas. A dime a dozen. Just do a whole thing of characters that are based off mispronouncing famous characters. Right? So Bulbous Fett. Bulbous Fett or Bulbous the Hutt. That would be a good one too. Bulbous the Hutt. Bulbous Fett. It might be better. So it's just this, like, it's Boba Fett, but it's like, he's like really round. And get it? Like, that's the joke. Maybe it needs more work, but there's something there. I'm sure of it. I'm like 69% sure. This one middle dome right here is still looking a little bit pointy at the top here. But yeah, so not a lot. Well, I got one new thing coming up tomorrow. I feel like I'm like 10 years old again, and I'm going to the friggin' dentist. I mentioned before that I've been having a substantial amount of dental discomfort, if you will, and finally decided to do something about it, and called up the old dentist. Said, you know what? I got pain. You got the tools. Fix me up, doc. Gotta get this stuff under control here. Things are getting a little out of hand, you know. Just hurting all the time. It's kind of weird. Need it to stop. So they're gonna root around in there and see what they can do, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work out for me, but hopefully she's gonna be okay. Hopefully it's not gonna be too awkward, too painful, too expensive. But, you know, whatever. Oh, I gotta delete this now. This is annoying. I hate when I do this. I'm gonna cut this. Cut. And throw it on this layer here. Is it gonna come out at the right size? Yes, it did. I'm gonna render this quickly and see what it looks like. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Now we're gonna shrink it down a bit. Oh, and this mouse. I might have to go buy another mouse. This is like just a cheap thing from like a no-name store, basically. And it served me well for like a grand total of 3 months. And then, you know, a couple weeks of steady recording, and all of a sudden I'm like breaking my equipment here just to get these glorious products out. In the rendering here, this does not look quite as planned. I either need to make these lighter, the shadow colors lighter, or I need to kind of put them so that they exist behind the window. Or can I just get rid of the lines, maybe? Maybe I'll just take the lines off, the stroke. I'll just take the stroke off and see. That looks a little bit better, actually. I think we're going to do that. We're going to just take all these stroke pieces off. One by lonely one. Try to arrange them in some kind of a pattern. And slowly but surely move them around the map here. There we go. Oh yeah, that's looking good. I'm liking the looks of that. Oh yeah. Good stuff. Good freaking stuff, man. Most of that's going to be covered by shrubbery anyway. So we'll just move a few more of these around. And put them in place. Well, a few here, a few there, a few all over the place. Through this strawberry layer of Neapolitan. Now, fess up. I want you to be honest with me here. How many people used to call it Napoleon ice cream? Because I got my hand up right now. I was that guy. Could not pronounce or refuse to just open my eyes and properly read the word Neapolitan ice cream. I wonder what it would taste like. Blueberry ice cream, vanilla ice cream, and strawberry. Why is it always chocolate? Get that chocolate out of there. Throw in a layer of blueberry, and your blueberry Neapolitan. There you go. Another $1 million idea. I'm throwing them out to you, left, right, and center. A dime a dozen. $1 million ideas are literally a dime a dozen. Now, something probably already exists like that, so if you make it and get sued, I'm not liable. So, just throwing that out there. You're not coming after me saying, hey, that $1 million idea you gave me, somebody already had that $1 million idea. Because I'll be like, who are you and how did you get a hold of me? What have I done so wrong in my life that I've allowed you to figure out where I am? Get off my porch. Oh, I don't have a porch. I always wanted a porch. You see those old-timey porches with they're like covered and they've got, you can walk around on the, like a wraparound porch, you know? You can sit on the porch and you can like rock back and forth, right? Slowly but surely, just rock and everything's creaking, right? Like your porch is creaking, your rocking chair is creaking, your where does this go? Your bones are creaking. Just a whole big old creak fest. You just slowly rock and good times. But alas, I don't have a porch. It's one of life's little pleasures that will probably forever escape me. I'll be on my deathbed. My children gathered around me. Grandfather, have you any last regrets? I never owned a porch. Never got to rock around like I said I wanted to. That, and I never made my millions. I wonder how many people actually regret the amount of money they made. I mean, this, I'm rendering this, like, and you can't see the rendering. It looks better, but it doesn't look great. Maybe if I do another shrubbery bit over here, maybe that'll help it. Maybe that will help it. I'm going to just quickly undo that. I'm going to quickly copy this. Throw this over here. Maybe I'll flip it around a bit. Tilt it this way. Lay it down in front of that. Yeah. Looking better. Looking better already. So we've got our rendering. You can't see it. My apologies. It looks better. We're gonna have to fill in this white area eventually. Next episode we will do that actually. And let me just quickly check and see. Yeah, we'll throw in this little deal here. It'll be over top of this layer, this little hut of some kind, and that will be a thing that exists. And until next time, thanks very much. See you soon.